Joseph, this is one of those conversations, man, that I was just waiting for. And the reason I was waiting for it because I know that you will change someone's life, you will change their family, and you will change their community by helping them become this multi-millionaire mega-preneur, which is super cool. But for those folks that maybe don't know who you are, because I could read this bio, and some people want me to read the bio, take a moment, if you would, tell us, who is Joseph and what are you up to these days, my man?
Well, first and foremost, Shay, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to share what is my life's purpose, at the risk of sounding too, I don't want to say arrogant, but too flamboyant about it. It is my life's purpose. And thank you for this unbelievable platform. The Comeback Champion Summit is a platform for all of us to be able to share what has worked for us and that we've taught other people to help them bring their lives to the next level as well. And I'll share with you a little bit about myself. My background is, my profession is I'm a neuropsychologist. I help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges that have hindered their lives. And by profession, I'm what's called an ultimate performance specialist. And it's kind of a high-end life coach, if you will. I work people with their businesses. I have the privilege of working with A-list celebrities, Academy Award winners and Grammy winners, and sports figures and millionaires and billionaires. And everybody always wants the same thing. They want more, and they want to go further faster. And so for me, it's about the methodology and the processes to help them get there versus motivation and empowerment and helping people get excited. And so my purpose for doing all this stuff is because then this is why you and I do what we do right now, is it's our opportunity to pay it forward and give back.
Joseph, one of the things that I admire about you is your heart to give and your heart to serve. And I know that this conversation is for speakers and authors and coaches and trainers, network marketers, or anyone that has a part of their income tied to something other than just their profession. Although, if they're not having even got started yet, they're going to benefit from this conversation. But so that they're clear, take a moment and kind of define that multi-millionaire Mega-preneur. You came up with the title, How to Become a Multi-Millionaire Mega-preneur. So that we all know what it is and we can confirm we're at the right place. Give us your definition. What is your view of the world?
Yeah, let's start with what's an entrepreneur, because all of us on this call have an entrepreneurial spirit at the very least. An entrepreneur is anybody that chooses to and actively pursues, meaning they're doing something about it, creating income in methods other than the traditional employer-employee relationship. And that is starting a small business, whether it's network marketing or real estate or whatever, online marketing or anything, that they choose to do that. But I have some statistics that's really interesting, and this is the delineation, this is the difference between a megapreneur and an entrepreneur, because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. And an entrepreneur is, like I said, anybody that does that. But here's some statistics, and you can go and check this out on the Small Business Administration's business recording online. And last year, in 2019, there were 775,000 people that registered to have a new business. But out of those, only 100,714 of them actually reported having made money, filed taxes and made money. And out of them, only about 5,000, a little over 5,000 of those people actually became financially independent, or actually their income replaced their regular job. Why do I say that? These statistics anyway, 87% of people who start a business. And by the way, those are people who registered their businesses. Most people don't, so it's probably twice that much. 87% of people who start a business fail within the first 2 years, 2 to 3 years. And it's not because they don't want to. It's not because they don't have a desire. It's because they don't know how to be what I call a megapreneur. A megapreneur are that upper 3 to 5% of people that succeed at that highest level in whatever they do. And they are what I call wealthy. And I would say to people, don't get it twisted, because that's what we all want to be, is wealthy. Wealthy is healthy, happy, and financially abundant. All of those three things, the Quan, if you will. And so that's what a megapreneur is, somebody that succeeds at that highest level in whatever they do, in all of those areas of their life.
Yeah, but that also opens up the question immediately, which is, what's the number one challenge holding people back from already being a multimillionaire or a megapreneur?
Yeah, the number one challenge, it's one word, but it's multifaceted. The one word is fear. But here's what it is: fear of failure, fear of success, procrastination, hesitation, and imposter syndrome. All of those things. And even when I say them, if you're listening to me, probably a part of you is going, yeah, I got that. If you procrastinate, it's because you have a fear of, let's just say, being uncomfortable or failing at it or whatever. If you're not doing what you need to be doing consistently over and over and over again, which is part of the key to success, it means that something is going on here that has you fearful that if you do it, something is going to happen. Either you'll fail. And by the way, that's part of human nature. These things are part of who we are, but it does not have to be the way that we remain. And that's where, as I say, process comes in to help people eliminate that stuff and get rid of that stuff and replace it with something that serves them.
Yeah, so what do we say to the person that says, okay, is this another pump me up? Is this another motivation? Is this another pat me on the back, attaboy, you can go do this? Or during this conversation, when we get a chance to break down some systems, one of my favorite sayings is systems beat goals every single time. So will you be talking about systems and processes throughout this conversation? Or is this another, let's sing Kumbaya and let's all go do it?
Look, I got to tell you, some of my favorite friends and colleagues are motivational speakers. And this is not to throw any shade on them or throw them under the bus at all. The challenge with motivation is it wears off. It stays with you, not that long after you've done the thing or gotten the inspiration. That wears off. But what lasts, and the difference between my technology, if you will, or the processes that I bring is, as I said, process is progress. And the process more specifically is to help a person change their psychology, because it's your psychology that keeps you going forward or going backwards. And so this is not about motivation. This is the antithesis of motivation. Knowledge is not power, and neither is inspiration. Inspiration, as I said, it goes away. I always tell people, listen, I got one or two ways we can do this. I can get you excited and tell you some stories and help you feel great and everything, and that's going to last you a couple of days. Or I can give you a skill set that is going to help you change your life. Which one do you want? And obviously, 99%, everybody always chooses for the skill set. And that's the difference, Jay.
Let me just jump in and just address the elephant in the room and just challenge you to give us a process. Or share one of your methodologies. Because I know one of them. I just jump right into it, man. We can sit around and philosophize, but if this is what you do, I figured let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you showed up for one reason and one reason only, and that is to change your life and change your bank account, because you're ready to make $1 and a difference at the same time. You out there right now, you ready to make $1 and a difference at the same time? Then look right below the video and say, yes, yes, yes. So let's ask Joseph. He teaches you how to become a multimillionaire and megapreneur. This whole concept, this whole methodology he has around tell, show, try, do. I hope I got that right. Tell, show, try, do. Can you unpackage that so that can help us as we start on this journey towards being a multimillionaire and a megapreneur?
Absolutely. Well, let me start here first. And I call this the 7-figure psychology. And that is, and what I mean by that is that there are the way that we learn things will determine whether we do what we learned. Let me repeat myself, because this is critical. The way that we learn things, how we learn things, will determine whether we do it or not. Because everybody knows a bunch of stuff. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is just stored information. And again, I hope I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, but if you're overweight, it ain't because you don't know how to lose weight. You quit putting so much food in this hole and move your body, you're going to lose weight. Knowledge is not power. It's only temporary power. And action is not power. It's only temporary power. What is power is this: when we change the flow of how things work through us. And that is this. I call it the 60-20-20 rule. Okay. And I'm going to get to how we learn, by the way, because this is really, really critical. The process that we learn is this. I can tell you something. I can give you a story, and I can tell you A equals B equals C equals D. And you're going to go, that makes sense, that feels good, but that's just not. have you try something. We do something in the moment that I pride myself on. If you come around me, I often tell people, bring me your worst nightmare. Because in that moment, I'm going to show you something that in that moment, you're not going to be able to feel it again. And it's not going to be something that I do to you. It's something that we try together, and you're going to get the result. Then you have that tool for the rest of your life. Remember when I said earlier that I help people get over fears and phobias and emotional challenges? I'm very unorthodox of the way I go about things. I'm a neuropsychologist, which means I have 5 different ways of entering your world and finding out your programming to break that code to help you get over that. If you come into my office, you got a fear of dogs, there's going to be a dog there. And at the end of that hour, you're not only going to hold that dog and be comfortable with that dog, but I'm going to give you something to do, which means when you leave here as well, that you continue to do, that conditions you to, when you see dogs, you get excited about it. And the fear goes away. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you, we're going to try something together, and then I'm going to give you something to do. Because process is progress, not knowledge.
So once again, the formula is tell, show, try, do. Is that correct?
Yes. And that is the formula for more effective, deep learning that leads to activity versus just learning which leads to just that feels good. Because activity, things do not change unless we change. Things do not change unless we do something. It's not the, you've heard that's old saying that the road to poverty is paved with good intentions. We all intend to do something, but we don't always do what we know. Procrastination, hesitation, those are the thieves of our dreams.
Now you are, and I've heard you say this over and over and over again, you're like stuck in this one place that says it all starts with the mind. It all starts with the psychology of the mind. And we may get to that a little later, but I want to talk about the 60-20-20 rule. I think you just broke down the tell, show, try, do, which is something that we can do. That's something that you teach your clients. Is that correct? And you have processes where they're able to kind of go through that and then get the repetition in that. Is that correct?
Yes, these are the fundamental elements of a mega-preneur. Remember, mega-preneurs are that upper 2 or 3 or 5% of people. They don't necessarily know that they got them, but they got this. And if you're listening to us right now, please write this down, because at the very least, you have this foundation. Here's what it is. It's 60% psychology. What I mean by that, 60% of your achievement, you're being able to be successful in anything at all. 60% of it is your psychology. And it's important to understand the our deepest belief systems. And those belief systems fuel our lives. And so when we change our psychology, that is 60% of what we do. The second thing is 20% energy. And I'm not just talking about the get up and go energy and the stuff that we can have the energy to go do something. I'm talking about the literal electricity that courses through our veins that makes every cell in our bodies work. When we have that and we can master that and we can fluctuate it, we can move it and make it automatic, then it moves to the next thing, which is 20% magnetism. We all have the ability to bring into our lives the situations, the circumstances, and even the material things. Look, everybody here, every single one of us, knows or knows of somebody that when we look at them, we think that that person is lucky. The ball always seems to bounce in their favor, Shane. They're in the right place at the right time. Things happen for them easier than other people. They're not as smart or as educated or have as much talent as we do, but they're doing infinitely better than us. It's because they're literally a magnet to the things that they want. And so the system, the processing, the methodology behind that is to help shift somebody's psychology, and not on a global basis and not on a general basis. You as an different than me, and I'm different than you, and everybody's different. And if I can show you how to go in, and then, if I can tell you and then show you, and you try it and you get a result, then it's yours for the rest of your life. And then that what becomes now after that is you become that magnet to the things that you want. You get up early, you stay up late, you do the extra stuff, and you attract into your life the situations, the circumstances, and even the material things. It's the closest thing I have and that I know of creating magic.
What about those folks, Joseph, that are meeting you for the very first time? I want to get into a little about the pro sequences in a moment, But those folks that are meeting for the first time, like, man, I get it. The guy owns 5 businesses, Shay. He's making millions of dollars over here. He's able to speak to 20, 30,000 people a month. Oh, Shay, by the way, he's written 7 books. He has his whole doctor's degree. He's taught at the university level. Shay, this guy, he's like in the chocolate factory somewhere. and he's just up there doing his thing. Ask him, a little bit about his backstory. Ask him how he found his way on this journey before he continues on about do this and you need to know this and you can trust me. Tell us a little about Joseph. Well, I'm not going to tell you about Joseph, okay? I'm going to let Joseph maybe share a little bit of his backstory on Joseph and how he got to where he is now, at least the abbreviated version.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Shay, because I think it's important for people to know that their teacher is not teaching theory. That whom they're learning from is not somebody that just read it in a book and is already there. And I say that because I come from a place where I always say to people, you can sail right past broke. I was so broke, I was homeless. I lived in a cardboard box, and I was there because my self-esteem and my own belief about myself was crushed. When I was 17 and a half years old, 3 grown men tried to take my life because of the color of my skin. And it destroyed me. They left me for dead. And the things that they said to me as they were trying to kill me stuck in my head. It changed my psychology, my belief about myself, about other people, about the world around us. And so I wound up homeless. And what changed my life, Shane, was somebody that I didn't know. It was a kind person. Somebody introduced me to the whole concept of personal development, meaning that I could change all of those beliefs that I didn't even know that I had at the time. I'm intellectualizing it now, but at the time I didn't even know. I just was worthless. And so I learned that. It changed my life. I started to condition myself to default to a place of, oh gosh, I can, I will, I'm better, I'm good, I'm all those things. And then all the other stuff started to fade away. And then I started doing things, and in a very short amount of time, my first financial win was with real estate. And I shared this with you before, Shay, but I actually saved up Coke bottles and collected enough money to take a real estate course. And I took that course armed with that whole concept of what I now call the 60-20-20 rule and the methodology to change that stuff. And I bought 26 houses in less than a year and a half's time. And I still benefit from that today. And the other things, all the other 5 businesses, the other things that I do are all a result of having a methodology versus just, a belief in being motivated and that kind of thing. And so that is the impetus of what I do. So I'm not teaching theory. The other thing is I'm not teaching theory, meaning I'm not teaching you something that I haven't done myself. But I've also taught literally 5 million people by now to do that and similar things. But I will say this. Which is some of the impetus of how you and I came together, and that is that I'm a hired gun in a lot of cases, meaning I come in and I speak to other people's audiences, not the least of which being my business partner for several decades now, Tony Robbins. But I say this without excluding anybody else, only 3 to 5% of those audiences that I speak to have black skin. And so at this place in time where we are right now, it's important that we get this information as well, which is the reason why I'm doing this. And I'm seeing in the corner here, over there, my first book is about that. It's called Unlimited Power of Black Choice, and it's to bring this information into the Black community. And now there's no time better than right now. And it's not excluding anybody else. It's anybody this works with anybody. But right now, this is one of the things that I want all of us to get as well.
As you're speaking, I'm thinking and I'm listening. I'm hearing some folks out there, and they're like, "Wait a minute, Shay. Before I get into, I wrote down tell, show, try, do. I wrote down the 60-20-20 rule. He says he got nothing methodology, but Shay, I've got a lot going on. And what is his magic formula? Since he's got all these formulas around overwhelm, because recently we had a conversation, by the way, and I hope it's appropriate to say that. I won't mention her name. And she called in and during this global pandemic that we were having and said, listen, Shay, I'm looking for some advice. I work full time, but now I'm going to be working at home full time. I'm a full time wife. I'm a full-time mother. I'm now a full-time school teacher because she has 2 kids that are in elementary school and one that's in junior high. I'm also a full-time administrator because I got to freaking make sure their work get turned on. And oh, by the way, I'm also a full-time cafeteria worker, and I've never cooked this much in my life. And I'm getting my business off the ground. I'm out here. And what do you suggest that I do? And she wasn't saying it from a place of desperation. She was like, to me, she's bringing reality. And I don't want to say it's just the women. I mean, it could be many guys that are in those situations as well. So the reason I tell you that backstory, Tony, is for you to be sensitive, Joseph, for you to be sensitive to what you tell the folks that are overwhelmed. They want to learn what you have to say. They want to be a multi-millionaire, and they want to be a mega-preneur, but they got so much going on now. Like, is this yet another thing I got to learn? What do you tell folks that are in a place of overwhelm?
2 things. I'm super sensitive to it because been there, done that, lived there for far too long. What I didn't say is I was suicidal because of that long ago. And so overwhelm, there's 2 things. Number 1 is that there is help, and there's a way to get out of that. And I'm going to share with you the methodology or the steps to get out of that here in a second. But here's what I want to say as well, is that for somebody to say that, I can even hear it in the tension in your voice behind that. It's just stress. And what we want oftentimes brings up more stress in us. What we want, because we decide to do something, it means that we're going to have to do more. All of us are smart enough to know it means that we're going to have to do more, and that means more on our plate. But I want you to understand something. Going back to it, you said this before, Shay. You go, I'm stuck on the psychology first. It's just the way that it is. It is top down always. As we think, whatever we think in that moment, will cause us to feel a certain way. Literally, our brain makes our body release chemicals that cause us to feel good or bad, stressed or relaxed, happy or sad. So whatever we're focused on, whatever we're thinking about in that moment, makes our body feel that way. And however we feel will determine what we'll do. If you feel good, then you'll do good. If you feel excited, then you'll do more. If you feel frustrated, and then you'll procrastinate. All of those things. That's a no-brainer. No pun intended. And so what you do will be what you produce. So if you reverse engineer it, if you go, I'm broke, or I'm not getting the things done that I want, or if I'm frustrated or whatever, it is because you feel that way. And if you reverse engineer it, it's because that's what you've been focusing on. And so there's a process to help do that. And if you guys want to write this down, please do, because this is something you can all start doing right now. And this is just this slightest tip of the iceberg. What I want to show you, and that's what we're going to do at the summit, is to show you how to go in and go very specific and go deeper on this. But write this down. Overwhelm is just having too many emotionally charged tasks in our head. Let me repeat myself. Overwhelm is the emotion that is produced by having too many emotionally charged tasks in our head. You just said she's a mother, she's a wife, she's a school teacher now, she's trying to start her business, she's a cook, all those things. And they're in her head, and whatever she's looking at, all of those things, she does not have a good emotion tied to them because it doesn't feel good. Probably in the end, she wants so much more. That's why she started a business. And even that makes her feel stressed, which means the brain is releasing something called cortisol, which makes us feel bad, which makes us not perform as well as we could. And back on the 60-20-20 rule, oh, don't get me started. I'm getting excited now, Shay. Back on the 60-20-20 rule, that means your energy level is low. If your energy level is low, then you're not going to do things. So the way to get out of it is this. Number 1, list. Write everything down that you have to do. Write it down. For her, she's probably talking off the top of her head, but I guarantee you she doesn't have it all written down somewhere. And what's going to happen is 2 things happen. As soon as you write it down, you get it out of your head, which means now it's out of your head and it's on a piece of paper. And it's almost like magic, because as soon as it comes out of your head, because remember, that's all it is, it's in your head. It's part of your thought process. As soon as you put it on a piece of paper, the second thing that it does is when you start looking at it, it allows you to move to the second step, which is to prioritize it. And I don't mean prioritize it by going, this is the first thing that I should do. It just means which is the most important. Because as soon as you write down which is the most important, And let's just say, I use the example of, you gotta go to the kids' soccer game, or you gotta teach the kids this kind of thing. As soon as you write it down, you go, well, the reason why I'm doing this is because I love my children. And then guess what? As soon as that happens, because it's out of your head and you're focused on that one thing, then your brain gets to go, that's why I'm doing it, without the cluster of all the other stuff around. Once you've done that and you're starting to get some release of each of those things, you prioritize it. This is the most important. My children is the most important. Second most important is my business. Second, of course, is my whatever. Then you got it on a piece of paper. And all I'm trying to do is to get you to realize is that the process is the alleviating process, is the process of releasing the stress. And then the next step is activity or action on something, whatever the thing that you can do right now. If you can write something down or make this phone call or whatever. And then when you do that, then you get more release. And then the last thing is praise. And what that means is, as soon as you've done something, anything at all, give yourself some credit for it. She listed all of those things, but I guarantee you she doesn't go, I'm a great mother, I'm a great, and so this is what I did today, that kind of thing. Give yourself some credit, because then it's a loop. We call it a cybernetic loop, because then if you feel good, it goes back up to the top of the list and you go, oh, I get to do this, I get to do this, I get to do that. It makes you feel better. If you feel better, then you do more. If you do more, then you have more. Really, really simple process. But if you do it, you'll get results. And then later on, I'll tell you about, and that's what our summit is about. I'm going to tell you how to make it so that it becomes a loop, so that it's a cybernetic loop, so that it becomes part of who you are. So you default to feeling good and feeling excited about the things that you want to do. It's not that you're too busy. All of us are busy. I got 5 different businesses. And, I homeschool my kid, and I got all these things going on. I'm busy as well. We're all busy. They always say, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. They'll get it done.
That's so true. So as we're proceeding on, for those folks out there, we're talking about how to become a multi-millionaire mega-preneur. And there's been 2 tools that have been given to us so far: tell, show, try, do. Hope you wrote that down. And the second one was the 60-20-20 rule: 60% psychology, 20% energy, and 20% magnetism, which is very, very important, how we attract what we need to attract to us. Take a moment, if you would. I'm going to suggest everybody get their paper and pencils. I'm going to ask him to be a big favor, but that's why he's here, right? So hopefully he's going to do this big favor. Say, yes, Joseph, yes, you can do it, you can do it. And the big favor, Joseph, is there's this concept, this theme that underlines what you train, which is the pro, sequence, outcome, clarity formula. That's a lot of words. The pro, sequence, outcome, clarity formula. For those folks, try to write that down. I'm going to ask them to break it down, tell us what is it, by the way, and how we can benefit as entrepreneurs, becoming megapreneurs. It's called the Pro Sequence Outcome Clarity Formula. Tell us, what is it, and what does it do, and then how do we use it as megapreneurs?
Yeah. And by the way, these, as you said before, these are all pieces, and we got this short amount of time here, but when I get to meet you live, everybody that's watching, I'm going to break this stuff down and we're going to instill it in you. First off, pro sequences is the opposite of consequences. We always think about consequences. They're the negative, bad things that happen because we didn't take the right best activity. But pro sequences is foresight, is doing something now that's going to produce the result that you want. And so this is a formula so that you can create the outcome that you want. You can be clear on it, what that you want. And this system works with whatever you do. Whatever you do. Because remember what I said, a megapreneur is wealthy, and you want to be wealthy, healthy, happy, and financially abundant. So whatever you do, whether you're trying to change your body, whether you're trying to build your business, whatever you want to do, this is what changes it. And it's steps like this. Step number 1 is this: destination. What do you want? Clarity on what you want. The target of exactly what you want. We heard this statistic 1,000 times that only 3% of the population has written down goals, and only 3% of this population is wealthy. It's been throughout time. It's Harvard study. It's throughout time. So the first step is obviously writing down goals. If you're listening to me now, you probably already know that. But here's what happens, and this is why I love your concept and the process that you talk about, Shay, which is today is your January 1st. Because most people do January 1st. And then guess what, the next time they look at their dreams, goals, and desires is next January 1st. And then what that makes it is that 80% of the New Year's resolutions that people made are the same ones that they made the year before because they didn't do it. But you got to know where you're going. It's that target. You got to know what you do. You got to be clear on that. That's step number one. And by the way, when we work together, whether I'm coaching you, whether I'm working with you, whether we're learning something together, it's about your specific ones, not Joseph's or Che's or anybody else. It's about yours specifically so that you feel like you can do and get what you want. So step number one is destination. What do you want? Step number two is location, which means where are you now? Getting honest with yourself, being dirt honest where you are right now. I always say to people, my car, and most cars these days, you get in it, and I tell my navigation, I want to go to San Diego. I'm in Los Angeles. I want to go to San Diego. Okay. The first thing she has to know is where I want to go. The second thing she has to know, I say she, because mine talks to me in a woman's voice. She has to know is where are you, so that she can draw that line. You got to be honest. So for you, that's the second thing, is you've got to get clear on exactly where you are, being dirt honest. If you're starting ahead of the game, that's great. If you got some money to invest, then that's great. If you don't, be honest about it. This is where that imposter syndrome gets in the way of a lot of people, because they don't want people to know where they really are, that kind of thing. The third thing is that you've got to figure out what stops you, what has been your challenge that keeps you, that makes you procrastinate, hesitate, fear, failure, all that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's your psychology. It's how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself, and what you think about other people, and what you think about the world around you. Not to oversimplify it, but if a person comes to my office, they got a fear of heights, okay? I know that they consider themselves a coward. They consider themselves a fearful person. That's their psychology about themselves. I know that they think other people are better than them, at least in this area, because most people are not afraid of heights, okay? And because that goes on, it releases a certain, let's just say, a cocktail of endorphins and dopamines and things like that go through our system that don't make us feel good. And I know that they think that the world, especially dogs, is a dangerous place. Because of heights is a dangerous place. Now, I know that that's the psychology that's going on, and I know that's what's stopping them. And if I know that, then I can go into the next step, which is to eliminate that cause. Now, obviously there's more to it than I have time to give you right now, but to eliminate that cause, bust it apart, the next step is to replace that with what you want, the feeling that you want. To have that courage, to change that psychology. And then the last thing is to condition it so that it happens automatically. Because you don't want to have to pump yourself up and get in state all the time. You want it to be automatic, so you default to that. Those steps, there's 6 of them. Those steps, if you follow those, you can get anything that you want in your life. Anything. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to get exactly what you want when you want it, but I am going to tell you stack the deck in your favor. And the characteristics of any megapreneur, and I've had the privilege of being around millionaires, billionaires, healthy, happy people around the world, movie stars, all of those people, they all have this in some way. They don't necessarily know they do it, and my job oftentimes is to go in and to make it clear on them and enhance those things, but we've all got it as well. If you've got a heartbeat, then you've got it as well.
And one of the things that you said, I think that was very important in there, is that we all have it and we all can bring it out. What does Joseph say to the person who says, okay, I got it, I'm following her, Shay, I'm tracking it, got my destination, got my location, they're taking the notes and they're working, and I know there's a process we're going to talk, we'll talk about in a moment of how they can stay in this conversation over and beyond and to work with your organization to help them accelerate and move faster. But since this is the Comeback Champion Summit, they might be thinking, okay, this is good, I can do that. What is Joseph's number one idea in order to bounce back from a setback? Because I've had some challenges, Joseph. I believe in what you're saying, but I've had some challenges in the past, so I've got to get back going. So I need a little help, Joseph, on just getting back on track. And I think, Joseph, life is a series of being on track, and then you're off track, and then you're on track, and then you're off track. And there's someone out there that's off track. And do you mind if we slow down for a moment and we'll speed up and you kind of share how do they get back on track so they can implement some of these processes that you're talking about now?
Yeah. First off, that's a pattern with people. In other words, if you're on and off and on and off, that's your pattern. If you get to a certain, all of us have self-sabotage, all of us, self included. that, we mean to do something, we're going to do it, whether it's, stick to your diet or, build a business or do something, we mean to do it, and then we start and we stop and we start and we stop. That is your pattern. And your pattern is going to keep on happening over and over again unless you do the one thing, and it's methodology, it is a strategy, if you will, to interrupt that pattern and do what I said in the middle of this, which is to break that pattern apart and eliminate that pattern and replace it with the pattern that you want. And I'm going to give you a really quick example, and this is part of the tell, show, try, do. I just told you that it's about breaking the pattern. But I'm going to give you a real quick example, and then when we meet, this is one of the things that we're going to do at the summit, is something called a pattern interrupt. And this is a way to interrupt that pattern. When I say interrupt the pattern, I mean bust it apart in that moment so you can replace it with something else. A pattern interrupt, and I will reiterate this at a deeper level for you specifically when we do this. If you have a pattern of procrastinating, if you have a pattern of starting and stopping, where you are right now, your fear is that pattern's going to come up again. You're going, I got to get going. I got to do this now. I got to start now, especially at this time. You're doing all that stuff. You get excited and you may even start. But guess what? Inside, if your psychology, 60% of if your psychology is going, you're not good enough, you're not fat, you're not smart enough, or the world is against you, or whatever, then that is going to dominate it and you'll slow down. Okay, so that pattern, any pattern, you've got to interrupt first. See, people try and change things without changing how they feel about something, without changing the existing core bottom. But I'm going to give you an example, and again, I'll repeat this when we meet next or at the summit. However, we're going to do it at the summit, and that is this. A pattern of thought is a pattern of emotion, whatever we're thinking, and it makes us feel a certain way, so on and so forth. And I'm going to give you an example. This is the show that you've all done. You're sitting in your house and you're sitting in the living room and you go, I got to go in the kitchen and get an ink pen. You stand up, and in that moment, you're in that pattern, that pattern of thought, that pattern of your physical body, that pattern of expectancy, that pattern of everything, emotion. You want the pen, you got to get the pen, you got to do the pen, okay? Or go get the pen. You stand up and you go into the kitchen, and there you're standing in the kitchen going like, what the hell did I come in here for? Now, we've all done that. But what's really important that you get, and this is part of the methodology and a tool that you can use, is that what you did was you created an opportunity to grow. And what that means is this. When you interrupted that pattern by standing up, by moving your body radically, 4 things happen. The first thing is you're no longer in that thought focus pattern. You're no longer focused on the ink pen. The second thing that happens is you no longer have that emotion about the ink pen. You no longer have that urgency to get that ink pen that made you stand up in the first place. The third thing that happens is that you've created what's called a scotoma. You've created a blank spot in your mind. That's why you can't remember what you're doing. A blank spot in your mind is extremely valuable because it's a vacuum. And what does nature always want to do to a vacuum? It always wants to fill it up. And so the fourth thing that there is you have the anything that you want. And so the reason I say that is this: if you have a pattern of procrastination, hesitation, any of that stuff, utilizing that same process, you can cause yourself to feel that way, interrupt that pattern, your brain is going, what? And then you can fill it up with something, and I'm going to show you how to fill it up with something. You do that enough times, that becomes the new pattern. You want to know why I got so much energy? Why I do what I say I'm going to do? Why I have all those things? Is because I have that. I've conditioned it into myself, and that's what I share with other people as well. So you get up early, you stay up late, you do the extra stuff, and you're pulled towards what you want. Not being motivated, you're pulled towards what you want. You can do this for yourself. Now, there's so much more I could talk about, but just because of time, I want you to get it, that for things to change, you've got to change. But the thing that's got to change is your psychology, your psychological patterns. And I'm not going to, I say tell, show, try, do. I just told you. I just showed you. And then when we get together, we're going to try it, and I'm going to give you something to do so that it becomes your conditioning tool. I need a microphone so I can drop it.
I love how you do that, my man. And, sitting here, I was thinking about the 7-figure psychology, but I'm also thinking about this whole being a Mega-preneur now thing. Yeah. And, one of the things that I admire about your organization is they spend some time putting together a way to stay in this conversation over and beyond where we are now. And I know when I was sitting in the audience or even watching online, I always wish there was a way that I could stay connected, that I could stay in the conversation, that someone could feed something directly to me that I could use on my time when I wanted to, that would work best for me. Take a moment and talk about the power of being able to grow using technology these days, which is being able to learn online, I'll say it like that, that helps people still progress. Because there's some folks that still think, well, if I can't be there in person, it's a little bit of a challenge for me. Take a moment and demythify that if you can for a second. Then let me talk about something that your team is doing.
Yeah. First off, what choice do you have? What choice do you have? And the answer to that is you got the choice to not do it or to do it. If you don't do it, it's consequences. If you do it, it's pro-sequences. It's that simple. Second thing is this. Right now, and especially the way that because like I said, I'm a live guy, but my business in terms of live events, March 15th, boom, nothing. I haven't done one live events for 6 months now, but I do a lot of stuff online. So I've pivoted and I've created, and actually it's even better because you get to do it at your time. But here's what I want you to know. If you come to me, shouldn't I say if, but when you come to me, it's not going to be just Joseph telling you a bunch of stuff. You're going to do some things and you're going to get a result. And so the difference is, just like we're doing right now, we have a one-on-one and you get, whether it's me or Shay or anybody else, you get the one-on-one with that person. And it is critical right now that you adapt to that whole process of learning digitally. That, I don't care what anybody says, it's here to stay. Yeah, this pandemic's going to go away. Yeah, there's going to be live events and so on and so forth. But I promise you, biggest, or maybe the biggest, but a bigger portion of learning is going to be online. And you don't have to get on an airplane. You don't have to rent a hotel room. Now you don't have to risk getting sick, all of those things. But here's the difference, though. When you come see me, like I said, you got a fear of dogs. There's going to be a dog in your room when you come see me. When you come see me, we ain't going to play. I'm going to give you something to do. You're going to get a result. You're going to change yourself. We spoke about this before, Jay, about one of my many January 1st, and it was one of them was the day that I realized that I could change myself. Was the day that I realized that I could do something about my own patterns that I didn't even know that were there. And when I learned that and I changed it, everything changed, because it wasn't just that I changed doing things. It changed how I affected other people. It changed how I affected the world around me. It changed how people treated me. And it changed how all of that flowed towards me. Like I said before, all of us know people that seem luckier than the others. Luck is manufactured.
Take a moment, if you would, spot on, by the way, spot on. And this Mega-preneur, I know this program that you have, and I just want to touch on it for a moment if we can, because I'm sensing someone out there is like, I need a little bit more, Shay. I need a little bit more. Take a moment and talk about, what does someone learn that's part of a Mega-preneur now type of program? Like, what should they expect to learn, and what should they expect to be their result? And I know we can't promise results, but what should the expectations be?
Yeah. First off, there's 4 things. And they're all centered around the 60-20-20 rule. And so here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn 2 things. Your own psychology. I'm going to show you exactly how you function as a human being, and then how to use that information to get the very best out of yourself. Because most people don't know, why do I do the things that I do? Why do I sleep late, or why do I overeat, or why do I do this? Why do I do that? Well, if you keep asking that question, you're not going to get an answer. As a matter of fact, asking that question is going to keep you asking that question. So doesn't it make more sense to help figure out the lineage and the what I call mechanics of how we do what we do? Most of us, and by the way, you don't have to know all this stuff. I'm going to give it to you, but then I'm going to show you in the end of it how to just apply it all. So the first thing is how to change your own psychology, meaning find out what your psychology is, and so that we can change it, so that it starts that domino effect of going through you and making you perform more. So psychology is number 1. That's the first thing you can learn. You're going to learn tools on how to do all those things I did before, and on your personal level. And when I say learn, remember what I said before. You're not going to just learn it. You're going to do it. Every single piece of it. I'm going to give you something to do, because that's where the change comes from. The second thing is you're going to learn about the electricity that you produce. And this is so, so important. It is left out of, at the risk of sounding arrogant, everything. The electricity that you produce. Did you know that you have enough electricity flowing through your body right now to light up a light bulb? That's what life is. When your mom and dad got together and that sperm and that egg got together, there was a little bit of electricity from him and a little bit of electricity to get to them, and they got together, and guess what happened? It grew. It geometrically grew into the person that you are right now. You're an electrical being. The day that electricity goes away, that's the day that you're dead. So that you have the ability to create more of it in the moment. But here's the greatest part about it, Shay, is that we all have the ability to make it automatic so that it operates at that high level. And when it does, then you have the energy to do more. But here's the greatest part about it. It's going to be where it's a little cosmic. So second piece is you're going to learn how your energy and how to create more of it and sustain it. When you have more electricity, that electricity is something called wait for it, magnetic energy. Now, on the other call, I talked about how you can cause somebody to notice you just by looking at them. And that's because you're magnetizing yourself. Your electromagnetic energy grows, and so is theirs. But guess what? It's that way with everything in the universe. That's the way God made it to be. Whatever your religious beliefs are, that's the way the universe works. And again, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you. At some point, you're going to go, boom. Lastly is this. I call it effective pattern replacement. The process that I told you about before, and I say this, bring me your worst nightmare, your worst fear, your worst memory, your worst emotion that you have, because at one point during this process, you're not going to be able to feel it again. And it's not going to be something that I do to you. It's something that you're going to do. You're going to get the result, and you're going to realize you got this skill for the rest of your life. And so, I'll say this. I usually close with this, but I'm going to say it now. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. All of us are a result of whatever happened to us in our past. And where you are right now is a sum total of what you were. But it doesn't mean that's where you're going to be, because you can change that. And so my friend called it, Joseph, this is your superpower. My superpower is this, is helping you find out exactly how you function, because you deserve to see how you function at your absolute optimum. You deserve to experience that, and then you deserve to put it in place. And that last piece, Shay, is what you're going to learn, and what you're going to do is to condition it so that it becomes a natural extension of who you are. So you don't have to, get up and pump yourself up so that it becomes who you are. And that's, it's a real brief overview. But if you go to Mega-preneur now, then I made a video for you. I made things that gives you more detail. You can get more information about that particular program.
So head on over to Mega-preneurnow.com. Let's all make sure the website works. Seriously, no offense, Joseph, I'm sure it does work. But you watching out there right now, you open up a browser. Just do this now. Let's just check it out. It's 30 seconds of our time. Let's open up a browser. I don't care if you use Google Chrome. It doesn't matter which one. Type in www.mega-preneur, P-R-E-N-E-U-R, now, N-O-W.com. And the site's going to come up. And this is something I know that you're doing very, very special for those folks that are out there watching and tuned in. If the site doesn't come up, it's because the offer's down. Okay? But there is an opportunity for you to stay in the conversation over and beyond today, and then improve where you are to get to your destination. And I'm going to ask Joseph to take a moment to talk a little bit about one of his other concepts, which is, I think, if I got it right, it's a process precedes progress. I think that's what it is. Process precedes progress. And so some of you right now, you need a process, you need a system, you need a structure that can help you proceed to the progress you're looking for. Joseph, if they're over there right now at www.megapreneurnow.com, check it out. Make sure it's a good fit for you. Look at it and go through it right now. Take a moment, if you would, and kind of frame that conversation around process precedes progress. Because many of them out there right now, this is what you need. You just need a system.
Yeah. It is this. Look, as I said before, knowledge is not power. You know, we can get all the information that we want, which, by the way, and this is certainly not to throw any shade on anybody or throw anybody under the bus. It's just that, you know, we opened up with this before, Shay, that there's so many people that have bought programs and courses and things like that they've not done much with, and a great deal they have not done anything at all. So it's not the knowledge. We live in a day and age where there's so much knowledge out there, where there's so much information out there. You're in the super information age. And so getting all that stuff is one thing. Process creates progress, or I like what you said, precedes progress. And what that means is, if you don't do anything about the underlying challenge that is keeping you from going forward, getting up early, staying up late, doing all those extra things that you need to do to create that business, we all know it. We all know that we got to work hard. We all know that we got to do things extra. And by the way, it's not that much more. Look, there's kids. And when I say kids, I mean the youngest billionaire now is 20. I think they just announced it a few months ago, 21 years old. Billionaire. Now, you may say, okay, well, she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay, set her aside. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kids between 15 and 20 years old, 21 years old, that are multi-millionaires through internet marketing, through all kinds of stuff. You see them all over the place. And it is because, knowingly or unknowingly, they have the process. The process of getting themselves to do something. And when I say unknowingly, they don't have all of these steps that Joseph has right now. Something happened where they, along the way, either it was their upbringing or so on and so forth, they stumbled into the right place, right time, whatever. But I guarantee you, if I was to peel it all back and take a look at them, they all have these attributes right now. All I've done was put it into a very, very simple, comprehensive process to create the progress that you want. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to get everything that you want when you want it. But I will say that it's going to not only just stack the deck in your favor, it's going to increase the odds of you doing it 100-fold, 200-fold. And by the way, I'll say this. It's not because Joseph McClendon is so smart. I want to say that I've had throughout my life some unbelievable mentors and teachers, and they've taught me to do things. And the difference is they've taught a lot of other people to do things as well. And all of them will tell me, Joseph, you are excelling more than anybody else that I've taught. And it's not because I'm so special. It's because I have a process. Because I have something that automatically, when something shows up, guess what my identity is? I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but my identity is I'm going to be the best at that, or at the very least, one of the best at. And I go through the process. I set my destination, okay? Here's where I am. I go through that process every single time. It's a success formula. Most of us don't have that. And so, not to put too fine a point on it or to keep beating a dead horse, here's what I will say. If you have brown skin, if you got black skin, then you have a psychological wound. And that wound is, remember I said, how we feel about ourselves, other people, the world around us. That is our psychology. And it's not your fault. It's something that was given to us and instilled in us, instilled in everybody. And by the way, this is not to eliminate anybody, for 400 years. And so, I hope I'm not overshooting this, Shay, but is that it's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's never too late to change that. All I want to do is give you the gift of you changing it for yourself so that you can have that 7-figure psychology. Whether you want 7 figures or you want 6 figures or whatever you want, remember, we're entrepreneurs. You're on this call right now because you're already an entrepreneur. Let's step it up. Let's step it up with process to be able to do that. Methodology, as you say, Shane.
Man, I love it, man. This is like super cool. This is super exciting. Everyone head over to www.megapreneurnow.com. Again, www.megapreneurnow.com. This is your moment. This is your time, or in the words of Joseph McClendon III, now is the time. Now is the time, and that's why let's go to Mega-preneur now. And if you're ready, not only be a multimillionaire, and it's not about the money, okay? It's not about all the money you're going to make. It's about the meaning you're going to have in the world. It's not about the income, and not about the income you're going to make, because you're going to get a lot of income, by the way. It's about the impact that you want to make. You want to write a check to make some impact. And certainly I love to say, it's all about making $1 and a difference at the same time. And that's what being a multi-millionaire mega-preneur will allow you to do. And isn't that why you got in business in the first place? To have more time, to have more freedom, to do the things you wanted to do, to change a little boy's life or a little girl's life or a big boy's life or a big girl's life, to really make a difference. And it's tough to be held back when you don't have the resources to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And this is a vision that's been given to you and it's your assignment. And it's much bigger than you. That's why you need help, or you would do it by yourself. I'm confident of that. But you need to bring on others. You know, Joseph, you have this whole thing called the 7-figure psychology. And I know you've kind of walked through it. And I'm going to ask you if you can wrap it into a bow for the audiences that are over at Mega-preneurnow.com. Again, www.Mega-preneurnow.com. Because I believe this whole 7-figure psychology, this whole belief system, when you see it bundled, it kind of represents, in my opinion, a megapreneur.
Yeah, it does, because psychology is everything. Remember what I said. I love the way you put it. You know, I'm stuck on, top down, head, thinking. And by the way, most people don't know what a thought is, how to think. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. I'm going to give you an example. And I made a video about this a while ago, so maybe you saw it. I was walking through my neighborhood here, and I live in Newport Beach, California. Let's just say it's a fairly well-to-do neighborhood, because I got to practice what I preach, yeah? And so I was walking around, and we're in the middle of COVID right now. But I'm going to say and I live in a gated community, and I'm going to say maybe 150 houses in this community. The cheapest house here is probably $4 million, maybe $4.5 million here. It's California, so we're going to say it's ridiculous. At the other end of it, there's $10, $15 million houses here. But here's the reason I'm sharing this. As I'm walking around, at least 10% of these houses, including the one that's right across the street from my house, are remodeling and are under construction, that are building, a whole another level. Across the street, they're building a whole nother garage and a room on top of that, all kinds of stuff. And it's beautiful. It's amazing. They're probably spending $250,000 to $500,000 to do that stuff. Why do I say that? Because these people have the psychology that other people don't. The rest of the world is going, okay, we gotta save up, we gotta be cautious, and these people are going, screw it, this too shall change. This is gonna be okay. Let me get going forward. They're doing it smart. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, they got a bunch of money. Yeah, they do, because they have that psychology, because they think of themselves and they've been doing it through time. You do not change unless you change how you feel and what you do. And so these people, as I'm walking around, they know that this too shall pass. And when it does, their investment that they made now is going to pay off tenfold. And all I'm saying to you is, it is your opportunity. Whether it's with me or somebody else, make the investment in yourself right now. Now is your time to do it. I got to tell you, through time, and I'm not saying this to brag or to boast, it's just the truth. In the 3 decades that I've been doing this, I have invested, and even though I'm the guy that's on the stage, I've invested in myself well over $250,000 in educating myself, seminars and workshops and things like that. And if I knew what I know now, I would have invested in the right things, because a lot of that stuff was a throwaway. But now, and that's the reason why I do what I do right now, is because I don't want people to go through that. Why? Because somebody did that for me. And as noble as that sounds, the reality is this. If we don't help each other and we don't help ourselves right now, then what is going to happen is that it is going to implode, and it's going to slowly implode. And what I mean by that is, at the very least, see, I'm not going to challenge you on this, Jay, but I'm going to say this. It is about the money to a certain extent. Now, I want, in the end, here's what I want for everybody: to make as much money as you need to, want to, should make. Because at the very least, my saying is, those of us that dare to dream while the rest of the world is having a nightmare, you're not only going to get the money, the abundance and the things that you want, but you're going to be a shining example for the rest of the world. And that's how we're going to change the world, because other people are going to look at you and they're going to go, they did it, I can do it as well. With your energy, with everything around. I want you to experience what it's like to look at your bank account and go, there's $1 million there. Because the day you do that, It's not going to be about, here's $1 million there, and I did it, and it's all about me. I promise you, what is going to happen to you at that stage is long before that, you are going to have been giving away money and helping other people and doing other things as well. Because I'm here to tell you, there comes a point when you have everything that you want materially. There comes a point when you've got your child's college education paid for, when your house is paid for, when your cars are paid for, and you got all the stuff that you want. That's going to come, and I want you to enjoy that if that's your outcome. And I want you to know that happily achieving along the way is the goal. It's a voyage, not a journey. A journey is exhausting. It never stops. A voyage means you start at this place and you go on an adventure. You learn some things along the way, and then you get somewhere, and then you take that and you bring it back to your life. Shay, you said it at the very beginning. I love the way you just said right there with regard, there's that little girl, that's little boy that you can help. There's somebody that looks up to you. There's somebody that looks to you right now and goes, they're amazing. I get emotional when I do this, when I talk about this, because we have to do this now. It is our time right now. We have to do it. The world is ready to change. Are you? Are you? If you're ready to, at the very least, that's what the Comeback Champion Summit is all about, is to give you the tools, to give you the insight, to give you the opportunity to do something now. Now, I get excited about it, Shay, and I apologize. No, I don't. I unapologetically say that now is your time, and it's time for you to step up, everybody.
Now is your time. It's time for you to step up. And Joseph McClendon III, you've already stepped up, because one of the things that you've agreed, for everyone that's over at Mega-preneurnow.com, I want you to continue to do that, is that Joseph has agreed to not only stay in the conversation, but to show up and do what I would call a VIP bonus round.
Absolutely.
To go over and beyond this. And this is a gentleman that said, Shay, I'm here until I can give everything I possibly have, which I really, truly admire and I truly adore. And one of the things he's going to be doing is taking even a deeper dive than in the time he has now. And we'll be getting together for everyone who is a Champion Nation VIP member, or you can get a VIP pass. Just go get the VIP, go to Champion Vault, I think it is, Comeback Champion, or Champion Nation Vault, I think it is, .com. We'll put that up there so you can see it. But head on over there now, and he's doing a special broadcast, a special conversation where you can engage and you can ask questions, and you can be involved in this, so he can walk you through one or two of the processes that's going to help you not only create the breakthrough, because some people stop at the breakthrough, but make sure it continues and it becomes a habit. One of the things that I love that's been said many times, but I hold on to it, is that people form habits, and habits form futures. And so Joseph McClendon is helping you form the habits and become a multi-millionaire mega-preneur following his systematic approach. So Joseph, take a moment and tell them, what they should expect when they come over, which would be more of an engagement type of style. I would call it a celebrity Zoom type of meeting, but I don't have any sponsorship by those guys, and we're doing this because we want to do it, by the way. So whatever platform we use, when you show up, Joseph is going to show out, and you're going to get what you need to get to the next level. So Joseph, tell them what can they expect? I mean, they're like, oh my gosh, Shay, is there more? I mean, is it possible? Look, I wish I could tell you that there isn't any more, but the best is still yet to come. Someone write that down below in the video. With Joseph McClendon III, the best is still yet to come. What should they expect over at the VIP bonus session, my man?
I love you, man. First off, one of the things that you said right there, because I didn't know we get to take questions, and I thrive on that. So you have between now and the time that this happens to ask any question that you want. Now, this is going to sound incredibly arrogant. I'm going to pre-frame that ahead of time, but I want to just tell you the truth, the real. Okay, I actually stopped taking them on because the clients that I have, high-end clients, if you will, they just keep re-upping, and I can't take on more than one or two a year. But I charge $350,000 a year to meet with them once a month. And most of the time now, because it's COVID, it's online like that. And I'm not saying that to brag or to boast, but I want you to know that guess what the biggest value that all of them say is they have the opportunity to ask me questions. Yes, I teach them things. Yes, we go through some things, but they have the opportunity to ask me questions. And so what I say to you is obviously what Shay said, we're going to teach you some more things. We're going to take a deeper dive. And remember, this is all about you personally. Don't look at this as just general information. I want you to do something for you. I want you to be selfish. But this is your opportunity to ask me questions, and I'll stay there as long as Shay will allow me to be on there. And that is this. Ask me questions about anything, about any of those areas, health, wealth, happiness, all that stuff. I am not saying that I'm the end-all and be-all. However, I am saying that my experience over the past 3 decades now, internationally, all over the world, my personal belief is, I feel this to my heart, there's nothing and nobody that you can present to me that has a problem or a situation that I cannot give you at least some tools, some strategies, and some processes to help change that situation. So come to that with your questions, come with your enthusiasm, come ready to make a change, not just get information.
You know, Joseph, man, you're amazing. You're incredible. Everyone, make sure to get your VIP lifetime member pass. VIP lifetime is one time. You get to not only enjoy Joseph, who's going to be there, but you get to ask your questions. And some of you just want to be a fly on the wall. I get that. You get to be in there. And others are like, I can't wait. I'm engaged. Shay, I'll be there early. Well, I would be there early as well, because to be on time is to be late. To be early is to be on time, as they say, and I get that. Joseph, let me first say thank you so much for being a part of the Comeback Champion Summit. It was a way for us to connect and for us to do some good, man, for us to do this power partnership relationship that allows us to change lives. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. How can we serve? How can we add value? This is the second to last question, because I love to ask the question. And earlier we asked it again, and I think it's so powerful. And that is, share the lesson from your father. Now, I couldn't help but to ask that, by the way. I got two requests. I got the lesson from Pops, and then from your dad. And then I have, of course, my favorite all-time new quote, a screensaver, by the way. My favorite all-time saying that I just plucked off of your Instagram page, by the way. Yeah, I'm a stalker, okay? Yes, I'm a stalker. I'm like all of you, man.
I'm out there to be stalked.
I'm a student first, by the way. I'm a student. So I saw it. I'm like, oh, my gosh. You know, when the question is asked, and I got to ask them a question, it's not about me, but when the question is asked, how many ideas do you need to change your life? I always hear one. One. You jot this down in your notes. One good idea implemented is better than 1,000 ideas you know right now.
Hello.
And
preach.
How true is that? And Joseph's probably dropped about 200 golden nuggets during this conversation, so you should be like overloaded and ready to go. So Joseph, give us a story. I know we got so much time. Give us a story on your father. You know, that one story that I was asked. I got about 6 text messages, and Eric sent me like 4, by the way. And he's like, Shay, ask the story about the father. I'm like, what is he talking about? But I'm so glad I did, man. It's such a blessing.
First thing I'll say is yes. I just gave you a fire hose, like you're trying to get a drink out of a fire hose full of information on this. And I want to promise you that that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to break it all down. We only have just this little bit of time, and we're going to break it all down, and especially if we go working together further. So be prepared for that. But here's what I'll say. The question that he's saying about, and my newest book is called Dare to be Magnificent. And it is that. Magnificence means to magnify the essence that we have inside of us. And it's 5 key things that my father taught me that I credit him for my ability to do what I do, even when that person gave me the book and introduced me to personal development that allowed me to step up and actually do instead of just getting the knowledge. And they are these 5 things. I'll start off by saying my father was the most patriotic person I've ever known in my life. He loved his country. My father passed away in 2017. I know yours did as well, Shay. And my father was that guy that on Memorial Day, he was the guy that was out there at the unknown soldiers' graves, putting flags on their graves, you know, boots on the ground, things like that. He was just that kind of person. He served 25 years in the service. And because he was a military guy, he was very, very disciplined and very strict. And so he taught us some things. And here's the 5 things that he taught us. And by the way, this is, you know, the details of it are in the newest book. It's actually finished now. It's being printed as we speak right now. And by the way, I'll tell you, my friend Les Brown convinced me to write another book. I have 7 books now. I didn't want to write another book, but if you don't know Les, he's an amazing, amazing guy, and he wrote the foreword to the book. But anyway, here's the 5 things. Integrity is number 1. Integrity is number 1. My father would always say, you do what you say you're going to do, not just what you say to other people, but what you say to yourself as well. And by the way, I will say to you, that's part of the process. If you don't have integrity, you have a pattern of being disingenuous or not having integrity. That's just a pattern. You can change it. The second thing is tenacity, meaning that you are consistent about something, that you're doing it over and over again. My dad used to always say this: when you do it, you don't do it some of the time, not most of the time, all the time. My dad used to, he believed in exercise and taking care of yourself, and he used to have all of his children. I have 3 sisters, and all of us, we had to do 50 push-ups, 50 knee bends, 50 sit-ups, and 50 pull-ups, 50 jumping jacks every single day. Not some days, not most of the days, every day. He put a chart on the wall. Now, this is a little obsessive, but I'm glad he did it. And my dad worked, a couple jobs, and he went to school late at night. And so he'd come in late at night. And if we hadn't done our stuff, because we had integrity, we couldn't lie about it. If we hadn't done it, he would wake our asses up in the middle of the night. Get out here and do your push-ups. Dad, I don't want to do it. You only had to do that a couple of times before you learned. The next thing was energy. I talked to you about that before. And I'm not going to go deep into it, but my father believed, and he taught us to have the energy, to think about it, to know that you have the energy. The next thing was joy, to be happy, to be joyful, to be grateful about things. And again, all of these are processes to get them if you don't have it. And the last thing was kindness. Kindness. And it's one of the things that draws me to you, Che, is your level of kindness. Kindness means, helping somebody, to give to somebody, to help somebody else. It's not about you reaching the top of the mountain and going, look, I did it. It's about how many people you bring along with you. And you don't have to do what we do, which is, standing in front of people and doing all this stuff, just being you and just reaching out and helping somebody. I'm going to say this, and I hope I don't steal your thunder when I say this, Shay. And that is, you said before, what's your big takeaway from all of this? What's your takeaway from even what we've talked about right here? At the end of every day, you got to go, what is my takeaway from that? Because here's what you said. Your big takeaway could be somebody else's, I forget what you said after
breakthrough.
That. Breakthrough. Okay. And I'm going to put this on Instagram. I'm going to give you credit for it, just so you know. I said your big takeaway could be somebody else's breakaway. Okay. Yeah. And what I mean by that is you're going to help somebody else break away from their patterns. And lastly, I'll say this. Please share this. She's going to tell you how to share it and things like that, but share it as though it's your own. Because as you do, then what happens is that you spread, not only you spread the wealth and you help change other people's lives, but you create more for yourself as well. It becomes a cybernetic loop. You don't have to give me credit for it. I don't need it. You have to give Shay credit for it. He doesn't need it. You can claim it for yourself. Or you just go, whether it's on Instagram, you just go, hey, here's what I learned today. I listened to this crazy guy and here's what he said. Give your takeaway to somebody else. Share it with somebody else.
Man, Joseph, thanks a lot, man. You're a rock star, man. You're super incredible. Certainly appreciate you being here on the on the Comeback Champion Summit, man. We did something, the Comeback Champion Summit. I want to turn over to you to have your closing thoughts. And for those folks that are out there, once again, you can hit the share button, hit the like button right below, but pay this message forward. Pay it forward to your community. Pay it forward to your network. Joseph says, look, share this. You can distribute it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, is he okay with me? No, he's okay with it. No. He's okay with it because you're blessing someone else. And isn't that what it's all about? One of the things I told Joseph earlier, and I think we were talking the other day, I think I was joking about it. But I actually have now in my phone, I took a snapshot. There it is. Well, you can't see it because it's a lot of lights in here. But it's something he put on his Instagram page. You can find Joseph at I am Joseph McClendon. That's on Instagram. For those folks like my son, IG. I know that's so.
Us old guys still say Instagram.
Right. I'm on the IG. Hit me on the IG. But one of the things he said was strive to be. So strive to be the hardest worker in the room, the best attitude in the room, the most focused in the room, the happiest in the room, the most optimistic in the room. You might not always be that person, but if you make that your target, you will be even more amazing than you already are. Joseph McClendon III, thanks a lot, man. It's been an honor and a privilege, a treat and a treasure to hang out with you, by the way. We appreciate you so much. I want to turn over to you, man, to have your final thoughts, your final comments. Some folks right now, they're over at www.Mega-preneurnow.com. That's the right move. They're there. Some of those folks that are there and others have already said, no, I want to be at the VIP celebrity session. I call it a VIP session. I was saying celebrity, but Joseph, like, he's such a humble guy. But the VIP session, it's where the magic goes down and you can interact. You can be that person. And then others, you're like, man, Shay, this is really great. I appreciate it. Leave a comment below. But your comment is important. Your big takeaway is important. But more importantly, hit the share button. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. Hit the watch party button and pay it forward. All right, Joseph McClendon, I turn over to you to give your final thoughts, your final comments, man. We appreciate you. You're a rock star, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'm saying this to everybody. First of all, thank you so much, and thanks for this platform, and thanks for what we're going to do, and thank you everybody that's out there about what you're going to do. I congratulate you in advance, and I want you to write this down. You ain't seen nothing yet. Write it down. That's about me, what you're going to get from me and Shay and everything, but you ain't seen nothing yet with regard to you as well. This is your January 1st. This is your January 1st. And what you do now sets your trajectory going out. Second thing is this, is that the way that you, listen, you have a debt that you owe to someone. And that someone is whomever it was, whomever those people were that took care of you and raised you. And I don't just mean, because some of you, I was fortunate to have, a dad and a mom and all those things. Some people didn't have that kind of stuff. But somebody at some point in your life cared enough about you to feed you, to clothe you, to take care of you, so on and so forth. And it may have not been that, great, amazing person, but you owe it. The way you pay them back is to pay it forward. And that's the name of the game. And it doesn't mean that you got to go out and, do selflessly give forever everything that you've got and be a Mother Teresa. That's not what I'm saying. But how you pay it, how you give back is you give forward. And that is you share the knowledge, you share the wisdom, you share your example, you share, as Shay was just saying, hit the like button, hit the share button, do whatever it takes to constantly share. Give, give, give. Your life will flow accordingly to how much you give. And it doesn't matter. Right now, we're in crazy times right now. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that these are crazy times, but you can always give something. And I'll give you a perfect example. There are people in my neighborhood right now that are, there's 6 couples that I visit regularly. I bring them food. I do stuff for them. I chat with them and things like that because they're scared. They're in their houses. They're so, they're old and they're in the high risk area. You do something as well. Give to other people. Write this down. Life is exactly what you dare to make it. And fortune favors the bold. Life is exactly what you dare to make it. Dare to step up outside of your comfort zone. Make that investment in yourself with your time, sometimes your capital, sometimes your energy. Dare to be different. You already are. If you're on this call, you're different than somebody that's sitting there, sucking in more Netflix. So the trick to life is to boldly dare to make your life magnificent. I'm Joseph McClendon III. Shay, I thank you so much. I cherish you. I look forward to sharing even more in the differences in the lives of people that we will make, and that you that's out there listening, the differences in the lives that other people will make as well.
Thanks a lot. And for you that's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hitting the share button. Thank you for paying this message forward. And I want you to know, for you that's watching, for you, the best is still yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. My name, for the folks that are just tuning in, is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. And remember, time is long. Life, on the other hand, is very, very short. We got to live in the moment, and we got to make it count. God bless, and I wish you success. Peace. We out. Thanks a lot, Joseph. We'll see you later. Thank all y'all out there for watching. Y'all are incredible. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.